Tom Coley, coach for BCSN and Sports Wrap on the road. And what an honor and a privilege it is to have the great number 45, Mr. Archie Griffin, here in Toledo. And Arch, first of all, thank you so much for being here for the United Way. United Way is such a great organization. It's changing lives every day in the city of Toledo, and we applaud you and thank you so much for that, number one. But Arch, all the accolades you've received in your career, two-time Heisman, you're in every Hall of Fame almost that you can mention. Have you seen a running back that reminds you of you a little bit since you've been out of the game? Is there somebody that comes to mind that you say, hey, that guy kind of runs the ball a little bit like me?
Well, actually, when I think about it, and I don't usually think about that much because everybody has their own style, and I know nobody really likes to be compared to anyone. But I tell you, Antonio Pittman probably a little bigger than I was, but I think he had the kind of running style that I had because not only was I small and he's bigger than I am, but he runs powerful. And I like that with him. His first couple of years, he used to dance a little bit more than he does now. But I think he's been direct at hitting the holes and finding the open spots and getting to where he's going to go. And I like the way he runs.
Arch, two-time Heisman, two-time captain with Ohio State, captain with the Bengals. I mean, talk a little bit about, people have always seen you as a leader. And what have you brought to the table to make people, they look at you and they say, Arch is our leader. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I like to believe that being a leader is leading by example. And I would have to believe that my quality as a leader probably comes more from the example that I set because, I believe in treating people right. I mean, that's what's important to me. I believe in helping people. That's what's important to me. Those things are universal, and I think if people know that that's what you're about, then people can believe in you and people can help you in reaching the goals that you want to reach because they know that it's going to be for the good of somebody.
Arch, you've had a lot of great quarterbacks hand you the ball. And playing the NFL, you got to see a lot of great quarterbacks on the other line, on scrimmage, on the other sideline. A quarterback or two in the NFL that kind of, just kind of stopped you in your tracks a little bit and you kind of just said, wow, this guy's pretty good. Do you have a couple that come to mind?
Well, a guy who I played with actually that does not get a whole lot of accolades was a guy by the name of Kenny Anderson. And Kenny Anderson, I really think he deserves to be in the Professional Football Hall of Fame. And I don't know that he'll ever get there, but I think he deserves that. And when I reported to Cincinnati way back when, I was just amazed at how accurate he was with the football. And we had some great wide receivers back then with Isaac Curtis and Bob Trumpy, Chip Myers, and Billy Brooks, and Chris Collinsworth and all those guys, but you can't have great wide receivers if you don't have somebody getting him the ball. And Kenny Anderson was one that would do that. I'm still impressed with Michael Vick too, because people talk about the fact that he uses his feet a lot. Well, in that game, you use whatever you can
to get the
successful.
job done.
But I watch him run, and I am amazed at the type of things he can do with his feet as well as with his arms.
Arch, two things. We'll let you go. We appreciate your time so much. Toughest Michigan tackler. Does somebody come to mind that was pretty tough on you?
Well, Michigan, I used to always say when we played Michigan, that game was so physical. I was always glad that it was at the end of the year because on two occasions I know if we had to play the next week that I would not had been able to play. But their whole defense was always very, very tough, and I don't want to single out one because as a group
they may still come looking for you, Arch.
As a group, they were pretty doggone tough. But one of the things I could say also is I'm most proud of now is during the 4 years that I played, I never lost to Michigan.
Yes, sir, and I understand it very well. Arch, one last thing, Woody Hayes, Mr. Hayes was such a wonderful man and a great coach. The best stories usually coaches are at practice. I mean, they do. Do you have one practice story about Coach Hayes for us?
Well, I think everybody's really heard the practice stories about coach's ability to motivate guys to play. I mean, whether it was, throwing down his watch and stomping on it, or throwing down his glasses and stomping on it. And we as players knew that John Bozick, our equipment manager, had a ton of watches in there for him and a ton of glasses for him. But he would do that to motivate us, and it would get us going. But probably the funniest story that I'd like to think about, and what happened at a Michigan game, actually, we were at our pregame meal, and we were having that pregame meal and at the hotel, and the girls that were serving us were young, about our
Yes.
ages, and all looked pretty doggone good. And Woody saw a lot of the guys,
Sure.
staring and
Oh,
whatnot,
absolutely.
and he went in the kitchen and got the cooks and told them to come out and serve us because Bo planted those women there to distract us. So,
Mr. Griffin, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for coming to Toledo, and thank you for being here for the United Way.